Hello everyone, and on this lesson we are going to speak about one particular tool and one way of duplication. Let's go to edit and we can see where duplicate special command, and I will create a sphere firstly so we have something to duplicate, and on the right of this command we have settings as always, and let's click on this setting. So first thing we have here is geometry type. We have two types, one is copy and one is instance. Copy is just regular copy and instance is dependent copy, so if we will change a structure or the geometry of the original object, the other instances will change too. We will see it later on our course, but for now I will just leave geometry type as copy. Group under parent I will leave. This is a standard grouping parameter, and the most important parameters for us is translate, rotate, scale, and number of copies. So these three graphs is basically x, y, and z axes. So we have translate xyz, rotate xyz, and scale xyz. And we have the number of copies. So duplicate special is basically a way to create an array in Maya. For example, I want 6 copies of this sphere. And I want these copies to move, for example, on the x-axis. So I want my copy, each of my copy to move on 2 on x, 2 units on x, and minus 2 units on y. And on z-axis, for example, I don't want to move my sphere. I will also not rotate sphere because it is sphere and we will not see anything. And we can also scale our object. One in this graph it's 100%, so if I use y 0.8 value, that's 80% of its original size. And I will scale my object uniformly on all axes, and let's click apply and let's check what we have. So we have now our objects equally distant from each other, so they was translated on 2 on x minus 2 on y, and they were scaled on 80% with each step. So that's quite handy tool, and this tool allow us to build easily such constructions as ladders or all kinds of circular arrays, or maybe some kind of watches or circular ladders. Any of these constructions. So I will delete my sphere and let's see. Let's test it on the cube. And I remind you that in every menu, in every such menu, we have edit or set settings button. And we can start to array our cube. So I want to translate it on 1 on Z, and I want to rotate it on 10 degrees on y-axis. I also want to scale it on 110%. So 1, 0, 1, 1.1, and I want to scale it only on x and z axis. So that's what generally happening. And we can see now we have kind of an overlap. And I don't want this kind of overlap, so I will need to increase the translate value, for example, to 2 maybe, or 1.3, and let's apply it. And now we can see our cube is translating on the z-axis, rotating on the y-axis, and scaling on the x and z-axis, and we have 5 copies. Original and 5 copies, so generally we have 6 objects. And let's practice on some objects. First of all, I want to make a wall, and I want to attach a ladder to this wall. So I will kinda eyeball the size of the wall, and I will create one more cube, and I will make one step of a ladder. And I will position this step as a first step. And let's go to our command, duplicate special. And let's also check our gizmo, and we need it to define the axis of transformation. So we will need y and z axes. For example, I will need, you may have other axes. Check it in the left bottom corner. So I want to translate my step for 0.5 on y, and on 1 on z. And I want 7 copies. That's it. We don't need rotate our steps or scale. And let's try it out. And right now I can see I don't have enough steps, and I also want them to be a bit further from each other on the y-axis. So I will increase the value up to 0.7 on the y, and the number of copies I think I will need like 10 maybe. And translate z I will decrease to 0.9, and let's apply. In here I have my ladder, so that's extremely practical for some kind of interior designs. And let's move this construction apart, and let's try to build something a bit complex. So I want to build kind of a building. I think it's called rotunda in English. And we will start with the cylinders. And I want to scale this cylinder and scale it on the Z and X axes. a bit on the Y too. So I will get a basement of a building. We don't need any kind of precision right now. Let's just go to duplicate special operation, reset settings. And I want kind of a circular steps. So I will need 3 copies. And I want them to translate on the Y. Let's try 1. And I want this basement to scale on the X and Z axes. I think I also translated it. Yeah, I translated it also on the Y axis, but it's not mandatory. I think it's better if you will not use just Z and X axes. This way your ladder will have the same, your steps will have same height. So translate is too much, 1 is too much, and I will reduce it to 0.7, and you can see now I have kind of a good basement for my rotunda. And I want to create the columns all around the rotunda, so I will add the cylinder. And I will increase the height, and I will make it a bit more narrow with a green square, something like that. I will add the box. This is going to be the basement of the column. Here I adjust it a little bit more. And let's add the cube. And I will add it on top of a column, scale it a little bit like that. And I will duplicate this cube to the bottom of a column. Let's select every component of a column and move it to its place. We are going to be staying around all around the ladder, and let's group these objects. As we remember, when we group our object, pivot point moves to the world origin. And now with the whole group we can use our duplicate special command. And I want 5 copies, so I will have 6 columns overall, and let's rotate it on 60 degrees. So what you do here is basically you take 360 degrees and you divide it on the number of the copies, and you get a number, a value, which you can enter to the rotate window, to the rotate input. And let's click apply. And here we have them perfectly arrayed around the pivot point. So the next thing I want to do is to create some kind of a roof for the rotunda. So I will add a sphere and let's enlarge it approximately to the size of our rotunda. And here I want to delete a lower part of the sphere, but we don't know how to do it yet. So first of all, if we will click on the right mouse button and hold it, we will get to the spy menu. And here we have our object components. We don't know them yet, so let's go to the face components right now. And I want to select the bottom part of the sphere. With the box select, we can adjust our camera a little bit, or we can go to right or front view to be more precise, and we can select all our polygons at the bottom and click delete. After that, let's go to perspective. Let's push right mouse button again and let's go to object mode. That's the regime when we work with the whole object. And I don't want my roof to be hollow, so we will need to create some kind of a ceiling, and I will just duplicate the bottom part of the stairs and move my roof like this. And I think this is it. Our rotunda is done. If you want, you can texture it, or you can practice a bit more with duplicate special, and for example, you can try to build a spiral ladder.